Moses and the crossing of the Red Sea, deliverance and faith. The whisper of hope. For centuries, a people cried out in the silence of oppression. Chains, whips, and tears were the sound of the mournings in Egypt. But God heard, and when heaven hears the cry of earth, the impossible begins to move. Then he chose a man, Moses, the one who fled but would return to set free. Hope began as a whisper and would become freedom, because no night is too dark to stop the dawn, and no captive is ever forgotten in the eyes of God.
The call of God. In the desert, where everything seems silent, God speaks louder. Go and set my people free. Moses hesitates, fears, doubts. But it is there, in fear, that faith is born. Because God does not choose the strongest, He strengthens the chosen. The fire burned in the bush, but also began to burn within him. It wasn't just a mission, it was a purpose. And purposes ignited by God never go out.
The fury of Pharaoh. When power is challenged, pride awakens. And Pharaoh marched with all his might, certain that the sea would hold no escape. But he forgot one thing. Where human control ends, God's miracle begins. Armies may roar, horses may run, but no throne is greater than the throne of the Most High. For the God who hears the cry of the weak confounds the wisdom of the powerful, and shows the true strength sometimes comes from a staff and a faith.
Fear before the sea. The sea ahead, the enemy behind. Fear on every side. And yet God said, move forward. Because faith does not walk by what it sees, it walks by what it trusts. Sometimes God takes us to places where only a miracle can lead us out. Not to destroy us, but to teach us that He is the God of impossible paths.
The sea opens. Moses raised the staff, and heaven responded. The sea parted, and dry ground appeared. What once was a limit became a passage, and the people walked between walls of living water, not by strength, but by faith. Every step was a testimony that God does not fail. The water that rose was not just a miracle, it was a message, I am with you. And even the wind seemed to whisper, go, for God has already gone ahead of you.
The army swallowed. The same water that opened the way was the one that ended the pursuit. Because when God sets free, He sets free completely. No enemy withstands the purpose of those chosen to win. It wasn't coincidence, it was providence, not luck, but promise. For the freedom given by God has no return, and whoever fights against it fights against the author of history himself.
The dawn of freedom. That day, the people of Israel did not only cross the sea, they crossed fear, doubt, and their past. Faith made them free, and freedom taught them to believe. Some cried, others sang, but all looked to the sky and understood God had been there. And Moses learned, to lead is not to have all the answers. It is simply to trust the one who does.
This story speaks about Moses, but it also speaks about me and you. About the seas we face, the fears that surround us, and the God who keeps opening paths where there seemed to be none. No desert is too long,
No sea too wide when God decides to act.
Now tell me, what Red Sea do you need to cross today? Write it in the comments, and may this faith continue to guide you. Like, subscribe, and share so that more hearts may remember that God still does the impossible.